In part 1, we talked about the wellness field overall and explored the roots and origins for coaching. In part 2, we will expand upon that by talking about the different ways wellness coaches work. This section is titled Being a Wellness Coach, and we will explore learning related to both one-on-one coaching and corporate wellness coaching. We also encourage you to do a self-assessment of your knowledge, skills, and abilities, and have provided screens for this in the written portion of your materials. Lastly, we will talk a little bit about items to consider as you move forward with marketing your skills as a wellness coach. In part 2, we will describe a little bit more detail about how it is to be a wellness coach. When you're done with this section, you will be able to describe the dynamics of the one-to-one coaching model, to describe the differences between coaching models in use today, perform personal assessment of your current knowledge, skills, and abilities, and lastly, to brainstorm creative ways that you can market your skills as a wellness coach. Your coaching style is largely determined both by your personality and the needs of your clients. Depending on your background, you may approach wellness topics differently. However, your delivery model in terms of changing behaviors should always be the same. You may be seeking to earn your wellness coach credential to enhance your business, or you may be branching out into a new field altogether. Either way, you have options, and within these options, there are different characteristics that may help you determine which type of coaching style you would like to use. For example, if you are coaching individuals, one-to-one and face-to-face, you will most likely need to go out and cultivate a client base. If you are working for a company or corporation, you will have an active client base immediately, but your coaching style will be more geared for both individuals as well as groups. Because of the wide scope of topics that make up the wellness field, there is most likely going to be a need for you to use external resources to learn concepts that may be unknown to you for now. As an example, if you are a personal trainer, you may not have very strong skills tied to behavior change coaching because you typically rely on your knowledge of exercise physiology and nutrition to coach your client after all of your assessments have been done. If you are a licensed social worker, you will need to learn more of the exercise sciences because it may not be your field of study. But like all wellness programs delivered to our clients, your knowledge, skills, and abilities are all about balance. There are benefits to being a wellness coach besides the fact that it is a very fulfilling job. The first is your flexibility. You'll be able to decide or determine if you want to do telephone consulting, face-to-face consults, or if you would like to communicate using other forms of technology, such as email or fax. Opportunities will be different for wellness coaches depending on the path they choose. Wellness coaches can work with individuals or in corporate environments. They can also write books, articles, or teach seminars, as well as work alongside professional medical personnel such as doctors or other medical specialties. In terms of income, this will be largely determined by your experience and your geographic location. Right now, sessions for wellness coaches run anywhere in the $50 to $150 range. But maybe most important is the personal satisfaction that the coach gets once they experience the feeling of truly helping someone to reach their goals. This is in addition to the relationships that are formed during the coaching process. We talked about baby boomers, Gen Xers, and millennials in part 1. Now let's talk a little bit more about who can use a wellness coach. It should be clear that everyone can use a wellness coach at one point in time. But when you really think about this question, it's almost impossible not to take the next step and think about what a client looks for in a good wellness coach. When a wellness coach works one-on-one with their client, each individual client will view you as their own personal leader or wellness practitioner during the entire course of your coaching relationship. This implies a great deal, including developing trusting relationships for sustained engagement in the coaching process. Coaching guidelines are useful to be mindful of when coaching in a one-on-one format. There are some key non-negotiables of coaching that include what you see on this slide. Keep these items in mind in order to help you see the challenges before you to be effective and successful with a variety of circumstances and the diversity that clients bring to the coaching relationship. The rest of the non-negotiables are listed here for your reference. Your coaching services need to be custom tailored for each client, and the one-on-one, face-to-face style interventions allow you to fine-tune a coaching experience with follow-up questions and conversation, anecdotal evidence, and discussions on strategies for your client. In fact, you may find that you come to base your coaching strategies on these one-on-one conversations because they engage your client. Follow-up is also important for a wellness coach. This is part of the commitment process so that we confirm our client is on track. Going one level deeper, follow-up requires that we keep records of our interactions with clients, and how you do this is at your discretion. If you can imagine the thought process of a client who realizes that you cannot remember what has been discussed in past sessions, then you can see the need for a tracking system as a coach. One of the best ways to compile, organize, and sort information is through the use of a database such as Microsoft Access. Electronic forms of databases such as Access help to protect the confidentiality of clients, as they are generally more secure. Databases are also extremely useful in the reporting process. This could be very important to a wellness coach deployed into a corporate setting, as management looks to your reports for ROI information and success stories tied to positive results with clients. A good coach will need to have some promotional attributes in order to be successful. Most coaches come into the profession of wellness coaching fairly well equipped with one particular field of specialty. Required degrees and certifications from organizations are not enough, as clients are looking for references and testimonials from past clients. You should also expect that your clients will want to question you about your background in terms of your education, your experience, and the results that you've seen with your clients. This will help to build the prospective client's confidence level in your abilities. Naturally, it is vital for you to show a high level of professionalism in your appearance and your demeanor while also demonstrating a passion for what you do. This requires that you know your key strengths and that you are able to convey them to a prospective client without coming across as arrogant or demanding. One of the main things that we've learned from the corporate wellness field is how wellness works in groups. When we present information and statistics on behavior changes for people living with disease, we are grouping people together. As such, these groups or populations tend to show trends towards risky behaviors. Lifestyle factors have been identified as risky if they lead to chronic stages of disease. Unfortunately, our lifestyle is sometimes defined by what we do for work, because we spend 8, 10, or more hours on the job. Therefore, a large part of our lifestyle is our job. In fact, situations arising from employment can directly impact our wellness. This would involve levels of stress from work demands, sleep issues for shift workers, substance abuse for high-stress positions, and of course, injuries on the job. Through corporate wellness coaching, we learned that, essentially, most wellness concerns are basically the same across the board. What is different is how they affect your client and how you coach your client towards a healthier way of life. We can't really talk about wellness coaching unless we consider all aspects of coaching, and we've mentioned both individual styles and group styles in the way of corporate wellness coaching. We have to separate the two out because corporate wellness coaching is a completely different style of coaching and involves a much larger business component, in that you may have to market and promote yourself, determine delivery models, assess the population, coordinate logistics of delivery, and work with management to facilitate coaching flow. An especially unique environment awaits the wellness coach who is fortunate enough to be deployed out into the field where employees perform their jobs. This might entail working with freight employees on a loading dock, sales personnel in an office, or any job where an employee is at risk either for an injury to occur or for their wellness to be compromised by the nature of their job description. The dynamics of group mentality towards the wellness coach can be complicated. You should accept the fact that you will have some people who are very interested in what you provide, whereas others will be on the opposite end of the scale and in complete denial about their health and wellness strategies. To be able to accommodate all types is vital and may include the use of icebreakers or other creative forms of initiating contact with resistors. One of the main challenges to the wellness coach in a corporate setting is promoting the engagement of the population being served due to the split in perspectives within the group overall. Sometimes this can be traced to issues of confidentiality. Confidentiality is key as a wellness coach, as you are a health professional and, in the United States, you would be considered bound by HIPAA laws to protect the client's personal medical information. Also consider confidentiality from an employee's perspective. If you were to repeat any part of a consult to a third party, not only would it be unethical or possibly illegal depending on local laws, but the employee affected is more likely to shut down and not benefit from interactions because they no longer feel comfortable being open with you. If this happens, you have a very real problem on your hands, as in a group setting, people will talk and word may spread quickly that confidentiality is not honored. Always respect your client's confidentiality regardless of anything. While you're deciding what type of wellness coach business model you would like to use for coaching services, you will have a lot of different factors to consider. It is therefore useful to turn to yourself first and determine what your knowledge, skills, and abilities are. This self-assessment will allow you to see what areas you may need to work on as an area of focus before moving on to tackle promotion, marketing, and business skills or techniques. Once you know your KSAs, you can focus more on business components or marketing techniques. In part 2 of your manual, we have included some assessments for you to use in an effort to do a self-evaluation. These 5 values are important for you to know about yourself before you can expect to coach others on their own values. Furthermore, once you know more about yourself, you may find that your thoughts or approaches arise from thinking with more clarity. As we mentioned, there are career options for wellness coaches. Do you want to be self-employed, or do you want to be an employee of a corporation or company? You may find that you want to do both, and that is certainly possible if you can manage the logistics involved. Other factors that may help you to decide what career path to take with wellness coaching include how much time you have to devote to being a wellness coach or to cultivate a new client base. If you are already entrenched in a career, you may want to do wellness coaching on a part-time basis. Regardless of your decision, make sure that the one you choose does not create undue stress for you as the coach. The benefits of being self-employed should be obvious, but they include being able to determine your own work environment, your own pay, your own business model, and everything else related to being in business for yourself. Some coaches feel it is safer to be employed by another agency, as it provides more job security and that your client base is typically provided for you, as in corporate wellness coaching environments. If you're unsure which direction to go with your career options, try the exercise called decisional balance, which is presented and discussed later in the program. This involves looking at both scenarios and evaluating the pros and cons of either decision. In the end, there will be one clear option for you to go with.